What's up, guys? This video is all about dynamics. So dynamics includes the Ableton compressor, the glue compressor, multiband dynamics, and the limiter. So basically dynamics is the relationship between quiet and loud sounds. So we'll look at this drum loop here. We have loud, and then relatively quiet, and then loud, and the area between quiet and loud is called transient. So it's a harsh change of amplitude over time. All right, cool. I got that down. So what I want to do is I want to show you basically what a compressor does. So this is our compressor. I have the signal analyzer on the master channel, so both of these are going into it. Okay, so I have a sine wave. It is immediately on, immediately off. Nothing too crazy going on here. So what a compressor does is it automatically reduces the volume once that volume reaches over a certain point, and that's called the threshold. Okay, worry about threshold right now, right? So if you bring the threshold down, you'll see a reduction in your volume. See, it's not doing anything yet. Once we get past the threshold, right, we see it losing its volume, but it's doing a funny thing. It has this weird attack thing going on, this weird transient, and that is done with the attack. Ironically enough, we have a very slow, not very slow. We have a 2 millisecond attack, and this is basically your 2 milliseconds. It's the reaction time of the compressor. So say if you were in a fight and one guy had a quicker reaction time, he would be able to dodge punches quicker than the other guy. So Anderson Silva has a very fast attack time, and a guy like me would have a slower attack time, obviously. All right. It's a weird analogy. Oops, I just clicked on that. Anyway, you can manipulate the transients by lowering the attack. The attack goes to 0.1 milliseconds. It's very fast, and once you get there, that's kind of a brick wall. Not a whole lot gets through. A couple samples here and there, but it really depends. Right, so we have volume reduction going on right now. We can increase the attack to get more of that pop. Right, so it's more of a gradual type of thing going on. Release is the amount of time it takes for the compressor to release the volume. Right, so we're going to switch to this view here, the show activity view. Right, this line right here is the threshold, and this line up here is the reduction in volume, and we can see what it's doing. Right, we see very slow attack, or a slower attack. That is a very slow attack, so we can't go back to normal quite fast enough. Right, we'll have a very fast attack. See, it takes a while to go back. You can have an even slower release, up to 3 seconds. Right, and if we play a sound, it doesn't snap back up to the top, it's still down there. And this would be for, like, compressing vocals or something to make it a bit more interesting. There's also auto. You can have a super fast attack and a super fast release, but then you get distortion, which isn't good, or it could be good. So we have kind of a square wave now. All right, so what is ratio? Ratio is the amount that you're compressing once it reaches above a certain threshold. So 2 to 1 would be if it goes 1 dB over, you get 1 dB of compression. If you have 1 to 1, it doesn't do anything. You can have threshold down all day long. Nothing's going on there. But as you increase the ratio, you can go to infinity to 1, and you get some hardcore compression going on. Another thing I should mention is the makeup. Now this automatically, once you compress, it'll automatically bring the volume up however much it's compressed. Right, so we'll see our gain reduction here. So if it's, however much gain reduction, it'll automatically increase the output to match that. You get more of a uniform sound. Okay, that's your basic introduction to a compressor. I'm going to show you another one, which is the glue compressor. This is a different one. This is modeled after the SSL 4000 thingamajig. And this has a needle that kind of reflects it, but it's the same idea. But it has a lot more fewer options in terms of attack and release and ratio, but they're common attack, release, and ratio options. 2 to 1, 4 to 1, and 10 to 1, right? So you had gentle to extreme, or not to extreme, gentle to harder, and your release 0.1 all the way to automatic. Automatic, kind of, it's attached to the attack somehow. We'll explain that later. So yeah, you bring the threshold down, and you can see your reduction. Same thing. We can have a very fast release, so the needle snaps back. We can have a very fast attack, so it catches the transient. Right? We can have a very slow attack, so we got a transient poking through. Right? And it's a different kind of character because it emulates a very oldish piece of 80s gear. We have our makeup, and this is, there's no automatic makeup gain, but we can boost it. Right? A whole lot of transients there, and it acts in a different way. Clip that, it adds a bit of color to it. It won't go over 0. Sounds very interesting. And that's just on a sine wave. All right, we have that. So I'm going to show you the obligatory snare, acoustic drum type of thing to see what we got going on here. Right, kind of boring. Right, so we're going to add the glue on there, and what I want to do is I want to add a lot of transients to it. So I'll give it a neato attack, bring the threshold down, right, so we can kind of see it. You have to compensate, so every time you bring the threshold down, you have to bring the makeup gain up. Right, so we have the snares have a bit more punch to them, and that's how you get those punchy drum things going on. Right, you can turn that soft clip up and just bring this up. Right, so we have a fuller kind of sound. Another example, we'll add the compressor to that. We can crank the ratio. This is very hard, and bring the threshold down. Right, so we have the makeup gain boosting what we're compressing, so everything becomes a bit more uniform. But then you get something that would be over compression or very, very huge drums. You can completely kill the transients by increasing or decreasing the attack. So just kind of experiment on what attack is doing. All right, now we have one more thing, I believe. Oh, we have 2 more things. All right, Multiband Dynamics. Okay, this is 3 compressors separated by bands. So think of it like an EQ, how we would, how like we isolated the different sections. We have high, mid, and low, right? And different crossover points. So we have low, mid, and high. And each of these is kind of like its own compressor. And you can have it a bit more intense by dragging this up and down. I'll give you a better example. So I'll mute that. So we'll compress the heck out of the mid-range. So this is a great way if you have a sound and you don't want to compress the low end because it sounds kind of sweet, but then like the mid-range is not too. Doesn't sound right, and there's not a balance in the dynamics. You can change that. There's also something called upward compression. That's kind of advanced. What else? Yeah, and that's basically Multiband Dynamics. I don't use this a whole lot, so I'm not an expert. I use the C6 and all that fun stuff. But this is, kind of useful. There's ways to kind of tame higher end dynamics to get a balance, but yeah, you need a better visual system than this, but it's still pretty good. All right, one last thing is, now I know my ABCs, the limiter. So this is still the same compressor, but it has a very fast attack and release and threshold and ratio, and nothing's getting past this. This is a brick wall limiter, so I'll give you an example. Nothing's going above that. We can boost it all to hell, and we won't be going over 0. And this is a brick wall limiter and prevents things from going over a certain amount. Stereo options, left and right options, so it would process the left and right independently, or both at the same time. And you have your ceiling, so nothing's going over negative 30 dB, or nothing's going over 0 dB. Typically you give yourself a little bit of a ceiling because there might be some intersample clipping, which wouldn't be good, so I'd recommend about 3 dB. Just in case some things poke through. Release auto. You might want to keep that auto because I think it knows what it's doing. And yeah, that is your intro to dynamics. Hope you learn stuff, and take care. Oh wait, one more thing. I want to show you what a simple kind of compressor can do for your sound. So we can have our glue here. Alright, I'm going to give us an attack. Alright, so we have, so our sounds have a bit more punch to them now. Give it more of an attack, bring that up. You notice that you have to speed up the release for what we're playing. This is great for bass guitars and such. What this is doing is it's taking a very stagnant signal, and you're adding some transients to it, and that is with the compressor, and it's really fun. And it gives it a bit more, goodness to it. Anyway, that's what I wanted to show you, and have a good one and take care.